And that round 7 of the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car race started on what was a drying track, and Tony Rivera led the field to the green in his 370Z, but it was actually Toby Grahovic who grabbed the early lead from outside pole. But Rivera retook the point later in the lap, while Whitmer slotted into third.
In TCA, Joey Bickers took the lead in his Mazda MX-5 with Eric Powell in second and Chris Wright's Kia Forte Coupe in third.
And pole sitter Tom O'Gorman launched his new Honda Fit into the lead in Touring Car B, followed by the Tech Sport Racing Chevy Sonic of Michael Johnson and his teammate PJ Gronke.
An incident in Turn 5 brought out the full course caution at the 10-minute mark. On the restart, Rivera jumped back in the TC lead, with Whitmer overtaking second place from Grahovic.
Meanwhile, it was heartbreak for Powell as he brought his car into the pits with mechanical problem. That opened the door for championship leader Elvin Goulart to take over second.
Things began to heat up in the closing laps with Whitmer, Grahovic, and Rivera trading the top spot in TC, while Gronke and O'Gorman fought a great battle for the TCB lead.
And with just 3 laps to go, Rivera took the lead back and pulled a 1-second gap on Grahovic, taking an emotional victory in Touring Car. Joey Bickers held off Elvin Goulart for the win, and Tom O'Gorman picked up his first TCB victory with PJ Gronke in second. So there you have a look at it, and it's going to be tough to top that one, and something tells me we may just be able to do that. That was an amazing last couple of laps in 2 of the 3 classes, and certainly Joey Bickers had things covered out, had things covered nicely, if you will, and overdue. I mean, they've been able to put together a number of great podium finishes, but the speed have not been able to convert that into wins, and to see him do it and do it in such style, absolutely great. Now, as we take a look at what's unfolding in terms of the race coming up, again, fast laps from that 7th round, always fast laps from the first race of the doubleheader, always establish the grid in the lineup for the second of the races. And maybe not a surprise when you saw the speed that Tony Rivera had in that highlight package. And during the course of that race and total, a couple of times he had little, things happen. He would drop back into third, and he was able to come up and get back on point. So he was on the pole here for today's race, gets the Motul Pole Award in Touring Car at a 2-minute 27.593. That's a good race lap. Toby Grahovic and Nick Whitmer, who were second and third in the race, second and third in terms of the time charts, in the number 26 Classic BMW Motorsports BMW, and Nick Whitmer in the Honda Sen Rose, with special support this weekend from David Hobbs Honda here in Milwaukee. And then Patrick Gallagher, great run to 4th, ends up 4th on the grid in the number 54 Atlanta Motorsports Group machine. And Dennis Hanratty ended up 13th, had a spin in the race and dropped way back, but that Lotus Exige, even carrying a large chunk of weight added to that car, he was still able to put in the 5th fastest race lap. That Krug Speed team and Dennis Hanratty have continued to be an impressive pairing. Steve Burns will line up 6th in his Ian Lacey Racing, VP Racing Fuels Ford Mustang. John Weisberg, who ended up in 20th after that contact, still set a time good enough for 7th in his Berg Racing Redcom Labs MX-5. But the report is he may not be able to make the start. We'll see about the damage on that car. If he can, he will be a player. Starting in 8th, Shea Holbrook, in Hershey Racing, Bubba Burgers, and Lucas Oil Honda Accord V6 Coupe. 9th, the number 88 Outlier Scion Group Porsche Cayman of Kevin Kraus, who finished 17th. And then 10th is the number 7, who finished 7th in that race. That is Jason Fichter in the Team Shea Racing machine. Looking at Touring Car A, Joey Bickers, your winner, will start on pole in the Mazda MX-5 Cup machine, number 49. He had a lap at a 2:37.6, and that was 0.3 clear of your second quickest car, Sam Adams, the youngster out of Hubertus, Wisconsin, and the number 48 Atlanta Motorsports Group, Joey's teammate, at a 2:37.933. Here's how close it was. Elvin Goulart, the runaway points leader with a group of wins this year, will start third in the number 70 SAC Racing Mazda MX-5 Cup at a 2:37.937. That's a gap of 4/1,000, second to third. That's good close stuff. And then a good run into the 4th qualifying spot. Eric Powell, who was only 10th after being involved in that incident as well in the number 23 Tech Sport car, cost him in the points, no question. He was a lot closer to Goulart, had an opportunity maybe to move up, and ended up dropping back to 10th. That's a tough one to take. And then lining up 5th in the Kia Forte Coupe for Kinetic Motorsports, Chris Wright in the number 35. Starting 6th, the number 74 of Matt Fosnacht in the Team SAC Racing car. 7th, the 22 Tech Sport Racing Mazda MX-5 Cup of team principal Kevin Anderson. Starting 8th, the number 51 of Paul Whiting. That is the Speed Shop Honda Civic SI. 9th, Samantha Tan out of Gormley, Ontario. In the number 38, Samantha Tan Racing Honda Civic, and completing the top 10 is the number 16 of Jay Selinsky in the Berg Racing Mazda MX-5 Cup car. And the final entry in TCA, Spencer Patterson in the Patterson MX-5 Cup car, will start 11th. Noah Gray, the young man making his debut in probably World Challenge in the touring car in any class yesterday, 4th in the race, but the fastest race lap in that Hale Motorsports 2, normally wheeled by the points leader, Will Rogers. Boy, did he put a lap in. He'll start on pole. Michael Johnson, another relative newcomer in the Tech Sport Racing Chevy Sonic, number 24, who had a great run yesterday to 3rd, will start 2nd. Tom O'Gorman, yesterday's winner in the brand new black armor helmets, Honda Fit with the new red paint scheme, he will start 3rd. And yesterday's second-place finisher starts 4th in the Tech Sport Racing Chevy Sonic, the 25 of Richmond Hill, Ontario's P.J. Gronke. Then Jasper Drengler in the 01 in the Drengler Racing Honda Fit will start 5th. Blake Thompson starts 6th in the Black Armor Helmets Mazda 2. Henry Morris in the Hale Motorsports Mazda 2, who came in here 2nd in the points, had an opportunity to make up a lot of ground with Will Rogers being absent, but he needed to do a little better than 6th to make a huge chunk, and ended up only 6th. He'll start 7th. He needs to find a little bit of pace, and we did see him go out for what they call a hardship lap. So they clearly had an issue yesterday. Starting in the 8th spot, Ted Ho, who's been very, very quick when he's raced, but he hasn't been able to make all the races out of Farmington, Minnesota in the Breathless Racing Mazda, will start 8th. 9th will be Travis Wache in the Lone Mini Cooper, the Indian Summer Racing Mini. Excuse me, there's 2 of them here. He starts in the fastest of those 2, excuse me. And then in 10th, the other Mini, this from Precision Motorsports Group, that's Pat Wilmot in the number 10. And then Stephanie Anderson from Racine, Wisconsin, will start 11th in the Touring Car B category, driving another of the Black Armor Helmets cars. So there's a look at the field as it sits ready to go. It's a big one, almost 40 cars, and that's how intense this is. After yesterday's race, and want to make a note here, Toby Gerhovic leads in the points, and he was able to stretch that over Nick Whitmer by a bit. And so he sits with the points lead. Whitmer at 682 points, Whitmer at 585. Anthony Girazzi, who had a difficult race yesterday after winning the most recent race in the championship, the 6th round at Lime Rock Park, getting his first World Challenge win, struggled a bit. It was frustrating for him, I'm sure. Shea Holbrook sits 14 points adrift of him in 4th in her Honda Civic at 432 points. And Dan Moen is 5th right now, but Patrick Gallagher, Dennis Hanratty, all starting to make some inroads. After that 7th round yesterday, BMW maintains a 5-point lead in the championship for manufacturers in touring car over a tie for Honda and Mazda for 2nd. Nissan currently sits 4th. Looking at touring car A current points after yesterday's race, Eleven Goulart still leads the championship by a handy amount, 202 points. As we said, Eric Powell had an opportunity and got involved in that incident and dropped back in the finish order and lost a lot of points. Matt Fastnacht sits in the 3rd spot, another 70 or so points back. Remember, it's 110 to win, so these margins sound big, but one hiccup at a race and a large chunk of points can evaporate. And then Kevin Anderson, 4th, the 2nd of the Tech Sport Mazdas, and then Joey Bickers, yesterday's winner, sits in the 5th spot in the manufacturers' battle in that class. Mazda has a healthy lead over Kia, 74 to 35 points, with Honda 3rd at 26. Finally, in TCB championship points, P.J. Gronke leads it, but by a scant 10 over Henry Morris. But as I said, Henry came in 2nd to Will Rogers, and Henry had an opportunity to have a nice little margin. If he could have finished on the podium, he wasn't able to do that. Rogers, not running, has dropped to 3rd, but PJ has gone to the front with Morris 2nd by that 10-point margin. Rogers still holds on to 3rd, Drengler 4th, and O'Gorman, with that win now, has leapfrogged Ted Ho and moved up into the 5th spot. So that's interesting. And in the manufacturer's points, just to flush everything out here, Mazda leads at 68 points, 15 clear of Honda. So that's where we sit in terms of the points leading into this round of the championship. And it does not, by the way, include the 7 additional qualifying points in those respective categories. So that's going to Tony Rivera for his pole. Joey Bickers when we take a look at those points in the touring car A drivers category. That 7 points would take him to 276, or 376, excuse me. So gives him a little bit more breathing room back to Chris Wright, but doesn't give him enough to get around Anderson. And in that other one, Noah Gray gets the 7 points. And as I said, this was his first race yesterday. So, he's it's impressive, but those 7 points, he's still way, way back in the order at this stage. So that's kind of how things sit here as we are getting ready to go. We're waiting for that command, and Jeff Lepper is down trackside. You can see him there in your shot, and he's over the PA here at the track. And as soon as the command is given to start the cars, he will head up here, and we will give the call. As always, when we're doing this with the web, the way that we do it with Pirelli World Challenge, you're essentially eavesdropping on how we are building our CBS Sports Network show. So you might occasionally have the odd layout and pause while we're talking to our producers and the like. We'll stay with you as much as we possibly can, no question about that. And as always, thank you so much for joining us here on our global webcast. We appreciate it, whether you're doing it through world-challengetv.com or motortrendondemand.com. Welcome, and we are absolutely delighted to have you with us. And, I'll tell you, we had a tremendous race yesterday. I think we are in for another stellar run here. And, part of the deal is these cars, by design, they're based on, production street cars. They do not have big motors, which means the draft here from every one of these three categories is absolutely mega. It's just that simple. So that's going to be something to really keep an eye on here, and none more so than Touring Car B, because they run laps up to 20 seconds slower than the touring cars, so that draft is even more crucial. And watching them fight for every inch of space to carry speed and stay in touch with that driver in front of you or that pack in front of you, that is absolutely massive. So here comes the command to start engines. And you saw the signals. The field has come to life. Again, 40 minutes. The difference from yesterday and that 7th round of the championship is today's round, standing start. And as I said, we are looking at a big field, 41 cars lined up on this front straight, and we'll be barreling down into turn 1 to start 40 minutes of racing from a standing start. So, oh boy, I think this is going to be exciting as it gets. Those of you maybe down in the turn 1, 2, 3 viewing areas, you are in for a show here, and we're going to be bringing it to you. Look at this field as it's streaming out onto this track. 4 miles, 14 counted turns, and numerous little bends and weaves that all play into it. And I was talking earlier over the PA doing an interview with Tom O'Gorman, and he said most everywhere around this track, he said, except for the obvious really tight corners, he said the Touring Car B cars are just flat. They're just absolutely flat. And he said, some of these turns, even in a Touring Car B car, to go through them flat, it takes a little bit of willpower to be able to not follow your instinct and lift off that throttle, which means the touring cars and the Touring Car A cars, which carry a bit more speed, some of these corners here, they are gut check corners, and it makes it spectacular. Then you add in a big field like this, and it's showtime. Saw a great shot there of the Cadillac ATS VR, the official pace car, as Cadillac is a great partner of this championship, not only providing that ATS VR pace car, but the Cadillac Escalade safety vehicle that the safety specialists stay in. And this weekend, this is the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Road America presented by Cadillac. So they are a partner on so many different levels. We are lucky to have them with us, no question, and delighted about it. So again, they get this one installation lap. They will come around, and then they will find their spots on the grid, and we will go racing. And it should be an absolutely superb show. And hope you've got everything you need, because once this one goes green, you're not going to want to leave the TV or your laptop or your iPad here, whatever you're watching on, until this one's over, because they are just that chock full of entertainment. That's a look right there. Turn 6, one of the trickiest corners. What you don't see just to the right where the cars just appear, where those, excuse me, I think that's turn 8 now that I look at it. Also a very tricky corner. There is our Cadillac Escalade safety vehicle. So once again, a big thanks to Cadillac for providing that, and our safety specialists on board. And here you go. This is turn number 10 is what it's known as. The rest of the world knows it as the carousel. It's over. It is over 180 degrees. It folds back on itself. And right about the last third, about midpoint of that orange and yellow curve there, it goes off camber as well. So right when you start feeding it throttle to build speed, head underneath the bridge and then into the infamous kink, it goes a bit off camber. Then right at the bottom there, it flattens out just a little bit, and you pick up a little bit of grip. And then you take a look as there's Joey Bickers, pole sitter, in that Touring Car A category. And you can see it's a lot of Mazdas up front. They just, in Touring Car A, they've been the package this year. And then there's the 65 of young Noah Gray, rookie, and sits on pole in only his second race as the front end of the field in that all-red Nissan by Tony Rivera. Right behind the pace car, lights are out. Welcome back, everybody. The lights out on the Cadillac pace car. We are ready to go racing, but keep in mind here, as the field comes around, they're not going to watch that pace car duck into the pit lane. And then everybody just rumbled down into turn 1 as you look at the beautiful Cadillac ATS-VR, our official pace car, provided by a great partner, Cadillac. But now the field will come up and line up for the standing start. As we do that, let's take a look at our Kia Quad Box, featuring just a few of the looks you'll be able to see from the remarkable Replay XD cameras. And Jeff, these onboard shots, boy, do they tell great stories.
They really do. You really get to see what these drivers get a chance to do in the car, the gear they have to use in here. We're looking at, mid-70s here today, and it's hot out there. A little humid today. It rained here Thursday, so the water is in the air. I love these onboard shots.
It's fantastic, and of course, as they come up the lineup, we just want to mention the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. It doesn't come into play on a standing start, but on a restart, if we have a caution, it's as the leader gets into the apex of that last turn, here turn 14, and the pace car pulls off, you're in that zone, and then it's down to the leading overall car and that flagman up there as you're in that VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone to throw that green and unleash those VP Racing Fuels for all of these competitors. Jeff, 41 cars by my count, standing start, and you can see from rows 6 on back, it's a downhill. Really, really tough for those cars to be able to stay on that brake and clutch and time this.
It really is, and you see those Willen lights on the right there. They're yellow right now as they come on. Those lights will go red and turn on. When they go out, we go racing, and it's that delicate balance, having a foot on the brake, one on the clutch, one on the gas. But when that light goes out, you drop the clutch, you put the hammer down, and you go down racing into turn number 1.
And you can hear revs up on some of the cars as they're holding station, trying to get all of the crew members now cleared from the wall. You can't start the race until they're cleared. They're just wanting to make sure that all the drivers are in the right spots. And we're going to do it here. 40 minutes of competition. It's interesting. You've got two rear drive cars at the front of the grid. As the green flag flies, that signifies the grid is clear. And then you've got a front drive car for Nick Whitmer. Going to be interesting to see how this plays out on the start. Watch the back of those light boards. There they are. They're red. When they go out, we will be racing 40 minutes of competition. Round 8 of the touring car divisions. And away we go. And what a start by the Outlier Cyan Group. White Porsche came in down to the inside. Whitmer trying to squeeze his way through, Jeff.
Yeah, Kevin Kraus got a tremendous run back to 6th place, but it's side by side through turn number 1 for Rivera and Grahovic.
And Gallagher taking advantage, jumping around from 4th up in, for moments into 3rd. But now Whitmer comes across. Gallagher going to try and just stuff it down the inside in that lightweight Mazda. He does, but Whitmer, savvy move there, staying parked around the outside, knowing he's got a horsepower advantage.
Yeah, just used that momentum he had coming down the hill into turn number 1 and drove right around Gallagher. Gallagher waving to Hanratty in the back saying, hey, stay right behind me. Let's get in line, run these guys back down.
Absolutely, and Hanratty, we saw the pace, even though he had that tough finish. That Lotus Exige is quicker. They've added some weight to it, which makes sense because it has been such a strong package. But I think if he drives a smart race, he's going to be there right at the end. Ooh, near spin there, back in the pack just a little bit. Everybody's so far gathering it up.
Yeah, Andrew Raines trying to go deep there in the Stop Tech braking zone. Got it a little wide as Weisberg gets around him through that pass. Shea Holbrook also down in our Stop Tech braking zone trying to put a pass on Kevin Krause.
Yeah, that turn 5, man, that is a tricky area, and it's easy to get it wrong. And you talked about it at the top of the show. When you do, you're just absolutely crawling up that steep climb into 6th. So it is a tricky piece of real estate as we're going back there. It's the 49 of Vickers. And ooh, look at that move there. The number 70 of Elvin Goulart. Boy, he did not get a great start. He slipped back a bit.
He sure did. Eric Powell up to 2nd place. Sam Adams made a good run to get around in for 3rd place, but it's Kevin Anderson looking really racy here in his car up into 4th currently, and Elvin Goulart back to 5th, so far running in his worst position of the year.
Oh, and Adams got
look at Adams
trapped
way
a
sideways.
Oh, huge save. Great piece of driving. But there's that loss of momentum, and both Goulart and Fasnacht able to sneak through. Or do they? You don't see that often. Staying put her on the outside of the kink.
Yeah, that's something that I was like sitting there holding my breath as I saw them come through going, oh, this is going to be interesting. And don't count out Chris Wright. That Kia Forte Coupe turbocharged got some legs down the straightaways here at Road America.
Boy, Goulart trying to get to the inside of Anderson down through Canada corner. I don't know if there was a touch. If Anderson tried to stay put her on the outside, it got him offline. A little bit dirtier out there, and the car skated. Like I said, I don't know that there was a touch. There could have been, but he did a nice job to save it, but he lost fouls.
Oh, look at Goulart still Fasnacht way wide there through there. And Samantha Tan's joined this battle. And remember, this is a battle here for about 6th in our TCA category, so it's heated up all through the field.
Just fierce what we're watching here. There goes Adams, and then now that gap back to the 22. And that was, he got crossed up in Canada corner. That little bit of momentum, it stopped him and everybody behind him. As we go to the front, boy, look at this. Already Rivera and Grahovic have been able to gap Whitmer just a bit here. And I think that was that battle that Whitmer was having with Hanratty. And I think that maybe just parked them a little bit and let these guys get away.
Looks like Gallagher got around Hanratty now, too. So not sure quite what happened back to Nick Whitmer. It looks like he might be off the course somewhere. I do not see him in the mark here. Is going back to our TCB there. Henry Morse down into Canada corner and gets it a little wide right to the edge and just misses the wall there. Great save from that youngster.
Boy, I'll tell you, that was close. Oh, and Whiting has pulled off as well. So some early issues here. Morse got away with one there. And they had a problem in that first race. Like I said, we saw him go out for a hardship lap. So I don't know if maybe they're still struggling with something in the car or it was just that intense heading down into Canada corner. And I hate to say it, but what he did there, I did that once there when my brake pedal went clunk, and that is a scary moment because you just don't know, am I going to hit those barriers or not?
Yeah, it's one of those, you see it coming up to you. You got the sand trap there. The last thing you want to do, though, is go in that sand trap sideways in a sedan car. They're great for the open wheel cars, getting those cars stopped. Sometimes in these sedans cars, it causes you to flip over in that soft sand. Watching how this place plays out here in our touring car A-Spec, Michael Johnson leading over Noah Gray. And going back to the back there, you see Tom O'Gorman in 3rd, and then P.J. Gronke 4th, Ted Ho in 5th.
Yeah, what an opening couple of laps Johnson has put together here with that margin he's been able to stretch out. You don't see that very often, so nice job there. There's yesterday's winner. You see that plus 129 on that car. This is the lone class that goes with Pirelli World Challenge like they had in the history where they had rewards weight. Only in Touring Car B, and with his win yesterday, he's at max percentage, 129 extra points. He's in tire conservation mode, but you can make that work. We'll be right back. All right, little break there for our CBS Sports Network coverage. Back with you here on our global webcast. Johann Schwartz dealt with that kind of weight on his way to a tremendously successful season, and it was an absolute clinic watching him race in terms of conserving tire until he had to do something and make a move. And O'Gorman is living that right now, isn't he?
He really is. That 129 extra pounds on that Honda Fit. And these cars, you know, they weigh about 2,400 with the driver. Some of the heavier, the Sevisonics up to like 27. But when you think about the weight, when you're adding that 125, you're over 10% of the weight of this car that you add it in just in rewards weight.
Yeah, it's substantial, and you feel that. I mean, you know, keep in mind, folks, this is a small horsepower car. You've got to accelerate that weight. You've got to slow it. You've got to carry it through the corners. It can pulverize these remarkable Pirelli P0 tires, and that's where racecraft comes in. staying smooth, using the draft a lot, and just don't be too aggressive in terms of turn-in, braking the whole thing.
You see that gap that's back to P.J. Gronke. That's what we're waiting for right there. Noah Gray starts looking to the inside to protect a little bit, trying to get the draft on Michael Johnson to make the pass into turn number 1. They watch Gronke now back and forth. I bet you $1 down by turn 3, turn 5. He'll be right there in this battle if these guys stay side by side.
That was interesting right there for O'Gorman, because you get Gray pulling out, getting alongside Johnson, and it's like, who do I go with? I mean,
it's that choice on who you think's going to make it work. And so you see how much the gap's closed now. P.J. Gronke, it took just those cars going side by side like that, and they're evenly spaced now, a car width apart, first through fourth.
I do love watching these turn cars. Yeah, it takes them a little while to get down these straights here, but the racecraft you're seeing, the chess match that they're playing here on these long straights to maintain that draft is pretty remarkable. New leader is Toby Grahovic has gone around Tony Rivera. And we saw these guys exchange that lead back and forth a couple of times in yesterday's race. The game is afoot again.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Nick Whitmer. Still waiting on that, but we'll see if we can get that one on.
Welcome back, everybody, and we have a new leader. Toby Grahovic has gone around Tony Rivera, the BMW now in front of that Nissan. Gallagher in the Mazda sitting back just a little bit in third. And, might go, okay, what's going to happen here? But we saw this unfold in that 7th round of the championship. These guys made this kind of a move, pass, repass a number of times. And what they're doing right here, drafting, working together, trying to shake Gallagher, aren't they?
And they're really good friends. I talked to Tony Rivera right before the race, and he said, we're great with Nick Whitmer, who unfortunately dropped off. We're not sure what happened to Nick. We'll have to get a word on where he went. He stuck back in 23rd overall in the standings here, 19th in our touring car category, so he's back in the field. But he says their goal was to pull away from everybody else, and then 5 laps to go or so, have at it. It's any man's race.
And that's true. These guys have raced each other a lot in SCCA national level and national championship competition. They really know each other's racecraft. And the nice thing is they know that they can race very hard, but as long as they're fair, the other guy will be. And that makes it a joyful day at a racetrack. When you've got somebody you really trust, go after it. You can run, with that paper width gap between the cars and know it's going to be clean.
And you saw that where you saw Toby Grahovic get out of it in turn number 1, let Rivera go ahead and go. He can try to maintain that a little bit. Patrick Gallagher back there using every bit of track coming on the exit of turn number 6 there. I'm sure the race officials will start watching that. They said they'll get a warning. If you get another time after they give you that warning, it will be a drive-through penalty.
And make no mistake, they're good friends, but last 2-3 laps, gloves are off. Knuckles get bloodied. That's just how it's going to be here, because this is pro racing when you get right down to it.
They'll still have respect for each other. You won't see any hitting or banging, we hope. And if that was to happen, it would be a mistake. But just saw Tony Rivera there just tap the brake going into the kink, plant the nose on that Nissan 370Z, get that weight transfer. And you saw it was such a great driving clinic there in that clinic, or in the kink there, where he just planted the weight of the nose to get it to go through.
Here's a good battle. That is the 48 of Sam Adams, and this is the battle for third, and he's gone around. Goulart was there at the last lap in the touring car A category, and Adams able to get him. And look at Goulart. What a move by Elevin Goulart. Boy, did he just square that up, get to the throttle. That was superb.
What a pass that was. I mean, if you're talking about these special awards these drivers get, that earns my vote for Cadillac Move of the Race right there.
So far,
making that pass.
There's any question.
Turn number 7.
And then you see him get a little crossed up, turning into the carousel. He is on it right here. I think he's, he had, 5 straight wins he's been able to put together, and then ended up with he was on the podium, but that was it. And for Elevon, I think he said, okay, let's get after this here. And he is just fun to watch race.
Yeah, and you can look at that shot there and see the gap that Joey Bickers has opened up over Eric Powell. And the best thing for Powell and Bickers is Goulart and Sam Adams just keep battling here for that third position. Each of those drivers going over that white line. You got to be careful. I think Dorsey Schrader and Brian Till have not emphasized that enough to these guys. You and gals, you have to stay within the track limits. They'll be watching that. But Elevon Goulart all over the ABS there coming down into turn number 14.
They're just trying to use those exit curves to get some rotation. The cars start chattering, back end steps out. Now I'm straight lined and ready to go. There's the 23 of Powell, and then this great battle, Goulart and Adams, then the TCA car of Dino Weisberg. And you can see the margin that they've opened up now over the rest of the field. The 74 Fosnock right there coming into view. And then this tidy little battle.
Yeah, you got Chris Wright, Will Patterson, Samantha Tan, Jay Solinsky, and Kevin Anderson. A nice 5-way battle all the way back for 7th place.
Yeah, it's great stuff here. Everywhere you're looking, you're finding some good stuff. There's Fosnock sitting in 5th, and then here's 6th to 10th, really.
Kevin Anderson gets a draft around. Jay Solinsky loses 2 positions, and I think we get down to turn number 5. Way sideways for Samantha Tan there in that GPI Honda Civic Si.
And look at that, Wright not letting Patterson find a way around here at this point. And that was the one thing for Samantha there. You know, the steward said, if we sense that you're trying to save yourself big time because you got, you know, the car's got away from you and you run wide, we'll give you that one because it's going to slow you down. And that's what happened with Samantha there. So, you know, they do apply a little bit of logic to these rules here. Let's see, as Patterson able to do anything? No, not down into our stop tech braking zone. Very, very tricky piece of real estate. Nice job there. Anderson running a little bit wide. And back in the Touring Car B category, Noah Gray leads, but O'Gorman hunting. As we watch the run down into turn 1, sitting in 3rd now is the number 24 of Johnson. We're going to pause just for a moment here at the Cadillac Grand Prix of Road America. We will be right back. All right, folks, well, we're in break with CBS Sports Network. Back to the action here, and this is a fun battle with Noah Gray and Tom O'Gorman. And the car sitting in 3rd is Michael Johnson right there. For some reason, I think he's having a problem with a transponder because he's not shown in the order. It shows PJ in 3rd, but it's Johnson right now. But this is, unlike yesterday, Jeff, this is early on become a mano. Oh, there's Whitmer.
Problems continuing for Nick Whitmer. Looks like he lost a left rear tire, and it's probably broken off at the hub from what it looks like. He's just going to try to nurse that back down to the pits. I'm not sure if that was from an earlier problem that he had at the start, but yeah, you see that brake rotor is completely gone. Just the dust shield there is all that's left on the back of that Honda Accord. Well,
at the start, we watched him working that outside line on Gallagher as they came out of turn 3. It looked clean there, so something must have happened after that on that lap, though, because he dropped way back very early in the going, didn't he?
He sure did, and all the way back to 23rd overall, so probably the problem's persisting and probably had a vibration, and now it got worse.
What a story this Noah Gray is here, huh? I mean, we knew the car's fast, obviously. You know, Rogers had the points lead in that car and had some great runs, but for this young guy to just step in and be able to do this against the likes of Tom O'Gorman and PJ Gronke, that's impressive stuff.
It really is, and then 15-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, so when you think about the race experience, the time you do, and O'Gorman got a great run through the kink. They've warned the drivers in B-Spec here, no bump drafting. They don't want to see it. This track is a little too quick, a little too much stuff there, but Tom O'Gorman, you can't put a piece of paper between these two cars. I don't think they're bumping, but he's close enough to see.
Fun stuff down into Canada Corner. Some of these track and corner names here are stellar. Oop, look like somebody maybe locked up and went out. Or is that smoke coming from the 48 of Adams?
Yeah,
no, it's somebody in front. Is that Bickers?
That looks like Joey Bickers' car is smoking.
Oh, boy.
Looks like he's going away, and you see that right behind him. Sam Adams has got around Eric Powell for 2nd place in TCA, and if that smoke becomes terminal, that's the pass for the lead right now in TCA.
We're going to pause, folks. We'll be back with our CBS Sports coverage in just a sec. Welcome back, everybody, and drama starting to build here in all the classes, but certainly Touring Car A. There it is, the smoke from the back of your leader. Joey Bickers, yesterday's Round 7 race winner, but he's got issues. Right now it doesn't seem to be affecting his pace, but it's the old story of how long does whatever is smoking last.
Yeah, they're built with a certain amount of smoke, and you don't want to let the smoke out of them, but if it's a fluid leak, it doesn't look like it's affecting his performance at all, still maintaining that gap. Sam Adams was able to get around Eric Powell for 2nd place in TCA. Ultimately, that might be a pass for the lead.
Yeah, when you see the guy that's leading smoking and you're sitting in 3rd, that kind of gets the motivation activated, doesn't it? To make that pass and get around here at this point.
And you want to try to get that back as quick as you can. If you're Eric Powell, seeing that car in front of you smoking, he's right on the back bumper as Sam Adams come down through the braking zone in turn number 14, trying to get a good run onto the straightaway here.
Boy, I'll tell you can just see them working the wheel here and on it hard. That is just great stuff. Sam Adams out of Hubertus, Wisconsin, not too far down the road here. This is a special event for him, and this young man has shown some great stuff in the Miata ranks already, and coming in here for the Pirelli World Challenge and doing exactly what he needs to do. Smart man there. That's the 70 of Goulart. He is trying to get a draft off of Dina Weisberg. Smart.
Yeah, good job there. She's got the more power in that touring car down the straightaways. Goulart seems to be a little bit quicker in the corners there, so catch every little bit that you can as they come down through here, but still a battle on for second in our TCA category.
And Goulart now trying to open it up just a little bit, knowing that he just doesn't have the straight line speed to stay with Dina, so he wants to get as good a run as he can, get as much of a tow from her as possible here. But there you can see that's the straight line advantage of the faster by design touring car itself. Not huge, but it's enough.
Here comes down our stop tech braking zone. Eric Powell trying to get a look through there. Sam Adams goes a little bit wide. You saw the car get squirrely there. Eric Powell back to the inside trying to make a pass into the Corvette turn at turn number 6.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to find out if that pass paid off.
Going back to this battle here, here's John Weisberg, Dennis Hanratty,
Yep.
Shea Holbrook, and they're right in the battle with our TCB leaders. Not sure what happened with Noah Gray, as it looks like Tom O'Gorman is leading in our touring car, unless Noah Gray has just pulled a big, huge gap over Tom O'Gorman with this lap traffic. I'm trying to see there. There's Michael Johnson.
Well, Gorman's got a lot of dirt and debris coming off his car.
There's PJ. I don't see Noah, and there is Noah back there,
Way
all the way
back.
back and forth.
Oh,
so
boy.
not sure what happened with our touring car B-spec leaders, but big shakeup at the front of that field.
There's O'Gorman climbing the hill. And Johnson in the 24. That's your top two in touring car B. Watching as the number 44 of Andrew Raines goes slicing through. Following him, Steve Burns, Max Fedler.
Another newcomer to the series, 15-year-old, that number 05 BMW, adding a third car to the classic BMW stable. And you see that Italian flag BMW right there in the background. Gino Carini, the Palermo's Screamin' Sicilian Pizza Company BMW. Had a chance to go there and have some pizza for lunch today. It was an awesome job. And Gina, local here from Milwaukee. Yeah, I got my pizza from there. And those, man, that Palermo's Screamin' Sicilian.
Co-announcer. That's just tacky, man.
I left some for you. I got a coupon for you, though.
Oh,
that
good.
was nice
Thank
to get a
you.
coupon
Thank you
for
very
some
much.
pizza, so that was awesome.
There's Tony Rivera leading overall, and he's now been able to stretch that margin, Jeff. We saw Grohovic get around him, and then Tony went back to the front, and now it's up to about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, he's really pulled away, and I don't think that's Toby Grohovic cooling it off a little bit and letting him go. That's just Tony Rivera dominating right now in that Nissan 370Z, doing a good job to gap to Toby Grohovic. And you say these are friends, they want to race together, but if you're quicker and you're faster, you're not going to want to do that. You want to pull away as quick as you can.
Well, this is a very special place for a variety of reasons to Tony Rivera. It's a track where he won in the GT ranks in one of his early seasons in the Pirelli World Challenge. And then you come here to a track that he just adores in a lot of ways. There's an emotional connection as well. And then with the struggles he's had early in the season, he gets to this track. It's a special place. Everything works now for him, and you get this kind of bit between your teeth and go, I'm going after this.
He said this in his post-race interview yesterday when he won, that he just doesn't know anything else to do here besides win.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good mentality that you have in here. Just
That's
getting
it.
word as well that James Wilson, the number 55 TCB Mazda 2, earns our Optima Battery Best Standing Start Award, picked up 9 positions on the first lap in the practice session yesterday. That car grenaded the clutch in that car. Too much street driving in that Mazda 2, as we know James Wilson driving that Black Armor Helmets car around. So grenaded the clutch, they got a new clutch for it, was not able to get it time for the race yesterday, but able to do it today and picked up 9 positions overall in that first lap.
Boy, James, drives that car to a lot of races. Then races it and then puts the tires back in it, and home he goes. Just look at the 49 of Bickers. It really hasn't affected his pace at all. He continues to run very, very quick laps, but we see that smoke has abated just a little bit. And, I'll tell you, Jeff, it certainly didn't look like it was tire rub type of smoke that, was because of load in the corners. And this is where you start to get a little concerned because the smoke's gone.
Did it run out of fluid, or are we still okay? Maybe a little overflow.
So we'll keep an eye on it, but boy, it certainly hasn't affected his pace. Well, you know what they say, though. Sometimes right before it grenades, it's when it's really, really going fast here and the like. So, but we're going to pause for just a moment, but we will come back and see how things with Joey Bickers and the rest of this field settles out here at Road America. That is, I think, an interesting story. And there is Noah. And where is he shown right now? 5th. With Drangler now has moved up to 4th. Ted Ho into 3rd. And we really haven't seen what may have happened with Noah Gray. And Chris Wright just off the edge into the gravel.
Yeah, I believe that's down in Canada corner. Yeah. He had a problem there yesterday as well. Slid through there sideways this time, as there's James Wilson in that black armor Mazda 2. We talked about that before. His great start that he had, the best standing start, picking up those 9 positions after clutch problems, and worked on it all last night. Got that car ready. Got a text from him, I think, about 10:30 last night saying, all fixed, ready to go. So excited to see him do that.
That's awesome. The Optima batteries, best standing start. Well done, James. In that Black Armor Helmets machine. And you can see he's kind of duking it out now with the 65 of Noah Gray, who now shows as in 8th spot. So something's definitely gone wrong for Noah. I mean, the pole sitter, and to have him back like that right now, certainly struggling just a little bit. Now we see some of the front runners 3rd place. That's Elvin Goulart in, 4th place now. Goulart coming down, trying to get through and around. James opens the wheel up just a little bit and lets him slice through. Goulart finally able to get around Dina Weisberg, but now he sits in the 4th spot. It's Bickers, Adams, Powell, and Goulart.
Yeah, James Wilson made a great stop tech braking zone pass down there over Noah Gray, and I thought Elevon Goulart was going to follow him right through and then get James Wilson, but good heads up by Elevon there. Just backed it up a little bit, got him on the straightaway up the hill.
And there is a look at Mr. Wilson. Now, and aside from just being a great story with how he drives the car around, he's just one of the nicest guys in the paddock, so you can't help but cheer for him. The sound of a Nissan on the downshift down into our stop tech braking zone. Those engines are some of the prettiest sounding in the sport, and Tony Rivera gives these things a ride, continuing to lead here in the 8th round of the Touring Car Championship, the Cadillac Grand Prix of Road America, presented by Cadillac. I guess I'm being a little bit redundant there, but look at the margin he now has been able to open up over Grahovic. I mean, it's exceeding now 5 seconds. Tony is just putting on a Road America clinic.
He is, and you see the stability of that car. Perfect downshifts, and you heard it on the broadcast there. Put the car, half of the car over that line coming out on the exit of turn number 5, just right to the edge. Perfect race so far for Tony Rivera.
Yeah, impressive stuff, and this has been hard-earned. He's had a frustrating season thus far, and this is the place for it to all come right.
Yeah, right there. You look on the hood, there's a big burn spot right next to the Tiburon Motorsports there.
Yeah.
Had a big engine fire at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park during the test session. Got that car fixed in time to run Lime Rock Park the following week. Had a motor problem there. Got that fixed again. The second race had another motor problem as well. So just heartbreak for the last 2 rounds, and a little bit of redemption for Tony Rivera here this weekend.
And just watching him feed the throttle through Canada Corner. Here's Billy Mitchell. Used to be the Billy Mitchell Bridge, but it is still a blind climbing uphill turn. And it sets you up for a surprisingly tricky turn 14. You know, you look at the map and it looks, that's pretty easy, but not so much. And here's the 91 of Nick Whitmer, and we were kind of wondering what had happened to him. You can see there is not only no wheel, but not much else left. Look at that, Jeff. Exiting the carousel.
Yeah, you don't usually get away with something like that when you leave the carousel, and that tire is going to go all the way down there till the end. And that team getting report from pit lane, they're desperately trying to get it ready, and there's another shot head on of what he had to go through, and what a great save. You're probably doing 120 miles an hour in a touring car at the bottom of the carousel, top of 4th gear, to have that happen.
That tire had some energy as well, and that's another reason those fences are as high as they are around a track like that. And it's tough. I mean, he had a great run in the 7th round of the championship, and you can see on the side of the car that is getting some extra support in that Honda Sunrose Honda V6 Coupe from David Hobbs Honda, which is located in Milwaukee. You see that, the dealer for the people. That is their new slogan, and believe me, folks, it's true. You want to have an enjoyable car buying experience. David Hobbs Honda here is great fun, partly because you may just have a chance at saying hi to David Alps.
You get to see Joey Bickers, and you just saw Tom O'Gorman right behind him. This is your TCA and TCB leader on the track together, and Joey Bickers able to pull a big gap over Sam Adams for second, 2.2 seconds. There's Laura Tallman, the second of the CA Sport Racing Nissan 370 Zines, off of turn number 12 there, Canada corner, into the tire wall. It's way off the exit, though, so probably fought it through that corner. Braking zone there into turn number 12.
Well, that close-up shot we had, it looks like the left side of the rear wing is down as well, so you wonder if there were not necessarily some help, but if there wasn't some other contact that maybe preceded her ending up where she is there. And the question is going to be at this stage, here's a look at it, Jeff.
Yeah, right off to the end there.
Yeah.
Oh, sideways there through 12, and looks like she made some contact, with the wall there on driver's left.
And that's a full course caution, and it's a shame because we got 13 and a half minutes to go, and we had a good, solid, clean run for a while here. There's a couple of incidences here and there, but everybody able to continue. Whitmer's being the most spectacular, but that one, where that car stopped, was absolutely a target, and you have to deal with it.
Oh, yeah, straight on. You can't do a local yellow there. They do have a forklift there to go grab the cars and pull them away. If you kind of bury yourself in the sand more to the left, they can hook up and pull them straight across. That a little too much there. And you see the damage there to the left side of that Nissan 370Z. Big impact for that car.
Well, things are rarely minor in Canada Corner just because of the speed you carry. I mean, you don't think about it, but for cars that have downforce especially, this is the fastest part of the track because you just building speed all the way through the carousel, wickedly quick through the kink, and you're just still building speed all the way down here. But even in these cars where you don't have downforce, it's still a very fast piece of racetrack.
It really is. You're booking down through there. You're a little bit faster, about 5 miles an hour slower than you are going into turn 5, but that tells you how fast they're going down through here. Some of these touring cars, I mean, a B-Spec car, they're doing about 115 there, and that's smoking in a B-Spec car. When you think about it, most of the time they're just barely over 100 miles an hour. The touring cars doing about 140, and especially in that big V6 touring car A. Touring car.
So as things settle here just a little bit, just to keep you updated, Tony Rivera leads it in the Nissan, Grahovic in the BMW second, Gallagher in the Mazda third, Weisberg in the Mazda fourth. And he's been fast all weekend long. He had that bad luck. He actually went airborne down at turn 5 when 3 cars got together. And then Hanratty's still right there in that 5th spot in that Krug-Speed Lotus in touring car A. Bickers, Adams, and Powell. And you know what? These big margins that these guys had, if we go back to green, those margins are gone. So Grahovic's got life. And we see Grahovic can run with Rivera for a few laps, and then it's like Tony can gap him. So it's going to be interesting to see as we go through our Muck Daddy cleanup process here if we can get that done quick enough to see this one go back to it. Grahovic might have life. Adams and Powell and Goulart, we know it. That battle is capable of. And then O'Gorman and Gronke and the 24 Mike Johnson and Whitmer coming back out just trying to get some points.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to matter much for him as he's got to make halfway here, so I don't think he's going to be able to do that as he did run around there back in 23rd for a little while, trying to see if I can get a look at. He's done 5 laps, and 11 has been the total. So if he can get out there and get some laps here at the end, he might be able to score some points.
You can't give up, especially when you're placed as high in the points as he is. You will do anything you possibly can. And that Honda Sun Rose team, they don't have any quit in it. That's why he is a multiple Canadian touring car champion and champion in other categories as well. Well, while we're under caution, we're going to pause here at Road America, but do stay with us. If we go back to green, this one should be exciting. All right, as we come back with you here on our global webcast, it's going to be interesting. Jeff, I think they could get this one going pretty quick if they use that gale lift, hook up to Laura's car, and just haul her into that cutout. We could get this one back going again. I guess it kind of depends on how mobile that car is and if it won't just drag, if they can lift it and move it quick enough.
Well, it's about a 5-minute lap here to do a pace lap, and we're at 10 minutes to go. So you think they're about halfway through, coming through the carousel now. By the time they get around there, and that's what they're doing. They're grabbing that, they're pulling it out. Getting word, the best thing there, you see Laura walking out there behind that gale lift, so good to see her out of the car. Absolutely. And okay, getting into our Cadillac Safety 1, that Escalade, so good to see that.
So there's the lift. That Gale lift is just, and I'll tell you, this is an absolutely remarkable piece of equipment. Perfect for the areas of this track that have those gravel traps, because it just sneaks out, grabs it, pulls it right out. And what it can do is it can pull it out or lift it out. And if the car just got buried in the gravel and is otherwise healthy, it lifts it up, sets it down on the pavement, and they can drive off. It really works well. Not possible for this car, obviously, but you can see just how effective it is to get these cars cleared up. So I think we might be able to get back to green. It may be a 2-lap shootout, but that's fun.
It could be a green-white checker here, and the best part about that is that this is the last part of the day. They might be able to extend this out just a lap or two. Don't want to go 2 laps, it's a little too much, but there is some time still to get that, and good to see a driver's side impact down there in Canada Corner. That's a real testament to the gravel traps here, slowing that car down, and to see Laura Tallman walk out of that car and get into Caddy 1, true testament to the safety of these vehicles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Nissan makes a confidence-inspiring car, no doubt about that. And Tony Rivera can tell you makes a fast one, too.
It sure does.
He leads up front here. So it's going to be interesting here. They weren't able to get everything sorted and be able to go green this time. That would have been great. So we're talking about, and they do have the option here now for the pace car to pick the pace up a little bit and maybe save a minute, which could be enough for an extra lap. So let's see what's going to unfold here. As we're going to pause. We'll be right back with our CBS Sports Network coverage. Welcome back, everybody. Lights still on in the pace car, but the news is good. The incident over in Canada Corner, the car has been moved off the track, and if they can get a couple of tires bundles pushed back into place, we might be able to go green next time by. If they decide, Jeff, to pick the speed up of the pace car a little bit and maybe save an extra minute or so, we could potentially get a couple, maybe even 3 laps of green flag racing here to take us home.
It really would be nice to especially do like a green, then a white, and then the checkered flag next time by. With 7 minutes remaining down here in turn number 3 now is the leaders. As you see, kind of a gaggle of mixture of cars trying to wait for the rest of the field to catch to the back of the field as well, leading behind our ATSV pace car. But it still is Tony Rivera leading in that Nissan 370Z. Joey Bickers, the smoke is held off so far in that Mazda MX-5. Was smoking earlier. Looks like that has gone away. He continues to lead. And in TCB, it's Tom O'Gorman. And now PJ Gronke has moved up to second place in the Chevy Sonic from Tech Sport Racing.
Boy, and I'll tell you, we just got an update from pit lane. The story on Joey Bickers, it is a blown power steering hose, so it's pumped out. If you're going to lose a lot of fluid, that's better than some others you could be losing. But the team is reporting that young man's arms are burning right now. So this caution may have been, in a way, a godsend, except for the fact that he had a nice little margin. So if he had to give things up a little bit, now he's got to fend off Adams, Powell, Goulart, and we know how fast and aggressive those guys are, and he's got to do it without power steering.
Yeah, it's going to be tough around this 4.1 mile course. You see there is Joey Bickers. And to hear that no power steering, that's good. Now we know where that smoke was coming from, and it's awesome to have Tony Silva, the team manager there at Atlanta Motorsports Group, Jason Hoover, the team owner there in the pits with those 3 cars now. Sam Adams right there, so it's a 1-2 for Atlanta Motorsports Group with Eric Powell from Tech Sport Racing back there in 3rd place.
Yeah, no question, and the attack is going to happen in short orders. I can only feel for that guy. When that ends up going away like that, and you're under serious load around some of these turns, I mean, and you're in them forever, it's tough.
Oh, yeah, I could not want to drive one of these Mazda MX-5s or any car in a touring car category with no power steering.
And probably the one to drive, if you have to without power steering, might be an MX-5 because they're so well balanced.
They really are. If there's one to happen in, it would be nice to happen in an MX-5. 50-50 weight balance, front engine, rear-wheel drive. So it's battling, but it's doable.
We just got the word from race control. They called the pace car and said, pick it up. So we're hoping, it looks like we might get 2 laps here, assuming they can get around and get this one going in a hurry. And this is going to be a fraught, exciting, frenetic, pick your adverb or adjective, whichever one it is that describes stuff, last couple of laps here. It'll be fun. Let's put it that way.
It really will be. And I'm going to watch that battle in TCB with Tom O'Gorman, PJ Grunke, and now Ted Ho, your early points leader in the season, up to third place. Missed the round at Lime Rock Park, hoping for the double points that they're going to have at Mazda Race at Laguna Seca, but lights out on that Cadillac ATS-V pace car.
Yeah, I talked to Ted earlier, and he said, I need to win out here to really have a shot at it. He didn't get that done yesterday, but this opportunity here to end up at least on a podium is going to be a strong one for him. You can see the urgency in this field now. You got to be careful when you start building that speed. The pace car picks it up a little bit. The guy up front, Tony Rivera, has got to make sure that he doesn't overslow anywhere, because that can cause some real consternation. And now they are in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. As soon as they get to about apex here, that pace car scoots away just a little bit, and into the pit lane it goes. That's a 22 of Anderson into the pits. Wow, that's a late race development. Now Rivera and the starter into that zone, and they are looking to get this one going with 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go as we go green. And that, Jeff, is going to be 2 laps. We're going after it, and look at the explosion as the cars fan out everywhere. Ooh, that was Reigns, almost lost it. It looked like there almost may have been a touch, Jeff.
Yeah, I think some of the guys were shuffling back behind there with the TCB lap cars and TCA cars and got a little bit too close. And Reigns, great recovery. I think that was Fichtner he got into on the side there.
I think so, yeah. That fierce. And look at Hanratty working over the back of Weisberg right now, looking for a spot. Going back, there's Bickers. You can just see him. He's behind that red car right there, the number 40. Watch him come into frame, and he's been able to hang on over Adams, but it is by no means comfortable. Then you got Powell. Then you got the 70 of Goulart.
Yeah, the top 4 in TCA, nose to tail as they come down into our stop tech braking zone at turn number 5. There goes Goulart. He bounces out to the outside of Powell, and Bicker is trying to protect his inside, but he also wants to make a move over, Bickers onto the inside with Sam Adams, and Powell back to the inside again. He might get 2 spots.
Oh, boy, and the problem there is, did Adams see him coming at the last moment? He did. Look at Goulart. Watches, reads that to perfection, cuts underneath, and goes from 4th into 2nd. Little rub there, little touch, but, hey, last 2 laps here, that's fierce stuff. But look what that exchange did to an arm-weary leader. It gave him a gap.
Yeah, he can take a deep breath now, grip that steering wheel a little bit harder, and put his head down and try to get the lead here as Elevin Goulart, 5-time race winner here so far this season, is on a mission to try to get by Bickers.
Oh, man, and we haven't even looked in at what's happening in touring car yet. This is how good this stuff is. Watching there, Goulart, boy, he just gets that thing rotated in that first half of the carousel. He doesn't mind hanging it out. And, of course, with that caution, everybody's Pirelli P0s have been able to cool off a little bit. Now you can abuse them a little bit if you need to. If you need to rotate, you do what you have to do at this stage of the race. But Bickers is, oh, boy, we're getting a report that Bickers may have made a pass under yellow during that caution. If so, he may incur, they're saying, a post-race, essentially a time penalty. That would be equivalent to a drive-through if that is indeed the case. But, boy, let's hope that isn't the case, because he has been just amazing here, considering he lost that power steering mighty early in this one.
Yeah, not enough time. As you see Brian Liff locking up the right front of that Porsche Cayman as he comes down at turn number 14. The 2 teammates there, no, it's not teammates, sorry, Jason Fichtner from Shea Racing there on the left, and I believe that's Andrew Reigns on the outside of the number 44 as we're going back to this TCA battle. Looks like this could be a battle for the lead with Goulart, Powell, and Sam Adams going to the outside down the straightaway.
Well, these radio transmissions are monitored by all the teams, so absolutely they now know that this battle for what looked like maybe just second could well be for that win, as we have a white flag. You can see it waving in the background. We are on our last lap. Goulart, and nice move there by Powell as he got underneath Adams once again in this seesaw battle. And we're just going to watch here. Here it comes, your Touring Car B battle. O'Gorman hanging on. And look at this. Ted Ho is looking, what a run, as he's maybe able to come up and move into that second spot. That is some superb racing. PJ Grunke has also taken advantage of this. As the 24 of Johnson, his teammate, who'd been right up in that top 2, has now fallen to 4th. And here's what we talked about. Grahovic has speed for the first few laps when we go green. He's got it now, and Rivera not able to get away.
Yeah, full defense mode for Tony Rivera. It's about 2 car wins, and Rivera, I think, is just going to try to maintain that gap, not push too hard in the closing stages here. He knows his car is faster. I don't think Toby Grujovic is going to have anything for that Nissan 370Z.
Yep, just hit your marks. You know, and Tony, he's the consummate pro, and he's honed those skills with top-level club racing. He knows this game. He's led from this position. So right here, this could well be the battle for the win we're getting, and that would mean Goulart is well placed to perhaps make that happen. And look at him defend. He does not want to give any kind of an opening for a young Sam Adams to try and stick the nose inside, loosen him up, anything like that. And boy, did he get into and through the carousel. That was a great piece of driving. And now the kink.
Has to go through the kink, avoid the draft down the straightaway into Canada corner. Can Sam Adams make a move as they go way wide there through the kink? And there is Joey Bickers leading. Esteban Goulart. Sam Adams goes to the outside to protect. He's allowed to do that. It's not blocking, but he has to keep his car there as Eric Powell looking to make a pass, and it is going to be Tony Rivera, your race winner here today.
Sweeping the weekend after a troubled start to the season. Rivera, absolutely fabulous job. Grujovic another second, and that's going to pad Gruhovic's point lead. And so Toby, obviously he would love to have the win, but big picture thinking he's stretched that points margin, and that's what he wants to do. Gallagher, it was Gallagher, but Weisberg shown in front at the line. We'll have to confirm that one. Up the hill we go in touring car A, and again Bickers first to the checkered flag. But look at the then Goulart in second. That could be the win. But at the line, who will end up in third, possibly second? Looking at the scoring, it says Adams literally by a nose as he came by and was able to hang on to it. Now touring car B, O'Gorman looks like he may be up for a sweep, carrying the SCCA track night colors on that car. A very special program he's affiliated with. And he's got it. Ted Ho in second spot, and PJ Gronke, it looks like he's going to hang on and be able to bring it home in third, and does just that. The 24 of Mike Johnson looks like he'll be fourth. We have seen him with absolutely no timer lap, so it tells us his transponder could be not working at all. But carrying 129 pounds of rewards weight, and O'Gorman drives a precision race to keep those Pirelli P0s and his brakes alive and comes home with a sweep. As Rivera wins overall, we're going to step away for a second. We'll be back to hear from our class winners. Deserved, every one of them. Stay with us. All right, folks, so we're going to wrap things up here on our global webcast as well. Again, thanks for tuning in, and what a remarkable story we have seen unfold here. Just some great racing. Great job again after that impact by Laura Tallman to get that car cleared. You know, obviously the good news, she was fine and got out of the car, so it allowed everybody to really focus on getting the track cleared and get these cars back to racing as fast as possible. So we'll give you a quick rundown here of the current finishing order here. Again, always just provisional to make sure. But Rivera gets his second straight win, sweeping the weekend. Grujovic his second straight second place. And at the line, it showed on scoring John Weisberg by a couple thousandths of a second, literally a nose ahead of Patrick Gallagher. So Weisberg looks like he'll complete the podium. Gallagher and then the Lotus of Hanratty ending up in fifth. In touring car A, Bickers shown as the winner. However, if that penalty comes through, he would lose that because it would be a drive-through equivalent, and that's a long pit lane here. So we're going to say right now Bickers provisional winner, but possibly Goulart with the win. Adams and Powell would then complete the podium. Spencer Patterson got around Matt Fasnacht late in that race and ends up in a potential fourth, with Fasnacht would then be in fifth. And in touring car B, O'Gorman sweeps the touring car B weekend. Ted Ho, what a comeback drive. PJ Gronke in third. We believe Michael Johnson will be fourth. It doesn't show it as a transponder, which would put Blake Thompson then in the number 37 Mazda 2 into the top five. Now, just to let everybody know, bit of a break for the touring cars as they the entire series gets a bit of a break prior to Mid-Ohio coming up in about a month's time. So there's a little bit of breathing room here in the schedule. If you want to watch the Touring Car B races in our coverage here that we've been doing up for CBS Sports, it's July 7th at 8 p.m. So we would certainly love to have you tune in and join us for that. And those of you that are going to be joining us throughout the rest of the weekend, remember tomorrow and Sunday we still have 2 GTS races and 2 GT category races to unfold here on our global web feed, and would really love to have everybody tune in for that. And going to give you just a quick look at when those will be unfolding. On Saturday, the GTS race will be coming up. Actually at 5:45 p.m. That's Central Time here, so you do the math. 4:30 will be the GT race, the first of the doubleheaders, and then we've got Sunday, going to be a busy one for you as well. So really look forward to seeing everybody here, and just want to let you know the Touring Cars next round for the Touring Car Championship will be at Mid-Ohio July 29th and 30th. So there's some options for you. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening.